Your teenager just slammed that door hard and declared they can't stand you anymore. Agon. Just 3 years back, they would curl up in your bed, sharing every single thought and feeling. Nowadays, you'd be thrilled with a simple grunt, or them showing you a random clip from their feed. The frightening reality is how this shift occurred so quietly that you missed the turning point entirely. It transitioned from sweet requests to join you at night to sharp commands for you to stay out of their territory. In this Mind Unchained discussion, I'll take you through 7 key parenting missteps that can gradually but profoundly weaken the bond you share with your teenager. These are the Kinsoft errors that sneak up on most families and only become obvious after their relationship has suffered lasting harm. Mistake number 1 is the invasion of their private world. You go through their phone messages without hesitation, examine their browsing records, and search their personal belongings. You insist on knowing all their passwords, acting more like a security agent than a caring guide. You justify it by telling yourself it's necessary for their protection, but often it's your deep-seated fears calling the shots. And to be real, those anxieties jump into the driver's seat, speeding through worst-case scenarios as if navigating a thriller movie plot. You see yourself as vigilant and caring, but the actual lesson your teen absorbs is that personal privacy isn't a right, but something they must prove they deserve. It also communicates a fundamental lack of faith in their judgment. At their core, teenagers are going through a vital stage of psychological individuation, where separating from parents helps them form a unique sense of self. When you breach that boundary, it can feel like you're fighting against this natural process, trying to keep their identity fused with yours. They pick up on the signal that you struggle with letting them grow independent. Consequently, they begin to conceal parts of their lives, not out of wrongdoing, but as a way to create breathing room for themselves. This pattern is how many parents unknowingly nurture expert secret keepers, not necessarily because of wild behavior, but because dishonesty becomes the toll they pay for any sense of autonomy. Instead of developing trust in their own choices, they start focusing energy on calming your worries, stepping into a non-official emotional support role for you. In the years ahead, the specific details you might discover won't linger in their memory. What will remain is the sense that needing space felt like they were betraying you. Here's where the important adjustment comes in. Begin by extending trust, and only verify if real red flags appear. Privacy ought to be the standard approach, not a privilege granted after passing tests. Should you have a legitimate worry about something major, confront it openly and honestly. Avoid the habit of watching their every move in hopes of spotting trouble early, like some investigative drama series. By honoring their need for personal space, you cultivate deeper trust. As a result, when truly important issues arise, your teen is more likely to turn to you, confident that you regard them as a whole person, worthy of respect rather than an object needing surveillance. Mistake number 2 takes the form of an emotional power play or standoff. Your teen picks a path or expresses an opinion that doesn't sit well with you, leading you to pull back your warmth. The cold shoulder, heavy sighs, or indirect comments about your efforts and disappointments. This isn't constructive parenting. It's a form of emotional withdrawal, whether aware of it or not. The underlying message is that your love and approval are tied directly to their obedience and agreement. Adolescents are designed to push against boundaries. It's an essential part of self-discovery and building their character. Yet, when you center their development around how it affects your emotional state, you create an unfair bind. They face a choice between authenticity and maintaining your stability. This can lead them to outright rebellion, figuring they'll never meet your standards anyway. Or they may withdraw into themselves, turning into habitual people pleasers will prioritize regulating your feelings over mastering their own emotional landscape. Either path teaches them that love in relationships often comes with invisible conditions. We've all encountered those times when your teen voices something bold or unexpected, perhaps wanting to skip traditional routes for something creative like building an online presence. Your internal reaction might spiral into over-the-top worries and drastic ideas. Rather than defaulting to guilt-inducing lectures or melodramatic responses about sacrifice and repayment, take a moment to center yourself. The essential truth is handling your emotional responses falls on you as the adult. Their primary task is to mature and explore, not to constantly monitor your hurt feelings to keep peace. Stop specific behaviors when needed, but never at the expense of the core relationship. They deserve the security of knowing your fundamental care doesn't waver, even if you don't agree with every decision. Think of yourself not as a machine that dispenses affection for good performance, but as a steady, dependable support system that's there consistently, only really missed when it's suddenly absent. Before we move ahead, a quick note if this content is striking a chord or making you reflect on past interactions. If so, please support Mind Unchain by subscribing and joining our community of thoughtful explorers. It's said that around 97% of viewers watch without subscribing, similar to how teens might enjoy treats in secret without much loyalty. If you're already subscribed, you've earned those genuine appreciative moments from your family that feel so rewarding. Okay, let's continue because the following error is one that many dedicated parents stumble into without even noticing. Mistake number 3 is assuming your past experience makes you an automatic expert on their current reality. You went through the teen years, dealing with all the usual ups and downs, so you figure you completely understand what they're facing. After all, you made it through the hormonal shifts, peer pressures, and fashion regrets. But how much has really changed? The world they inhabit is vastly different. Digital platforms have made every experience feel like it's on stage for an audience. Emergency protocols for violence are now standard in schools. The price of further education has skyrocketed beyond many family homes. Conversations about psychological health moved from hushed tones to open dialogue, failing to recognize these shifts. You may brush off their issues as mere over-dramatization or suggest simple fixes like diet or popular culture influences. This approach teaches them that their difficulties aren't legitimate, that their experiences don't hold real weight, and that opening up to you might not be safe. It's a common reason parents feel shocked by major setbacks in their teens' lives. The warning signals were present, but overshadowed by statements like comparing to your own youthful struggles in an unfavorable light. To foster continued closeness, adopt a stance of curiosity about their lived experience. Pose questions to truly understand their perspective without immediate correction or comparison. Validate their feelings independently of year-round history. Trying to raise the current teen as if they were you in modern times can cause you to overlook the unique individual in front of you. Ask yourself honestly, would you have thrived under guidance based on relics from previous decades, missing the nuances of today's challenges? Mistake number 4 revolves around an intense focus on achievements and outcomes. Nearly every talk turns into an assessment session about school performance, study habits, or extracurriculars that might impress future opportunities. You keep tabs on their grades with the intensity of tracking investments, yet neglect to check in on their emotional well-being. When signs of burnout or distress appear, it comes as a surprise, as if their overall progress suddenly plummeted. Gradually, they learn to stop sharing openly, since it seems your interest is limited to tangible results. Psychologically, this conveys that love and attention are conditional on success and productivity. They start believing they're only valuable when performing at high levels. A portion of teens push themselves to exhaustion seeking validation through excellence. Others may lose motivation completely, wondering why bother if perfection is out of reach. In both scenarios, the message internalized is to avoid discussing struggles with you, fearing disappointment could damage the relationship irreparably. What teens fundamentally need is a parent who appreciates their full humanity beyond scores and accomplishments. Inquire about their ideas, dreams, and what truly motivates them from within. When they share aspirations that don't fit conventional molds, like artistic pursuits or digital ventures, approach with support rather than panic or judgment. Knowing they are cherished for their authentic selves helps alleviate the pressure of constant high performance. Mistake number 5 happens when you minimize or dismiss their everyday struggles. Your teen shares that friends are excluding them, and you quickly respond with advice to look at the bigger picture or comments that it's just part of growing up and will fade soon. You intend to offer perspective and resilience, yet it can come across as shutting down their emotional expression. To them, lacking your decades of experience, these events feel monumental and defining. By brushing them aside, you inadvertently teach that their emotions are only worthwhile if they align with adult views of separity. This leads many young people to stop confiding altogether, saving their feelings until they overflow at inopportune times. The better path forward is to prioritize validation over quick fixes or minimization. Start by reflecting back their experience with empathy, something along the lines of recognizing how hurtful that must feel. Then inquire whether they want a listening ear or assistance in working through solutions. View your role as adaptable emotional support, ready to ride along for the vent or navigate toward resolution based on their cues. Creating this sense of psychological safety makes them far more willing to return with future concerns. Let's press on with mistake number 6, which explains why many otherwise strong parents see trust erode unexpectedly. This is responding only when there's an urgent issue. You amp up engagement solely when things like school performance drop or emotional outbursts occur. During stable periods, you might seem preoccupied with household chores, work, or other distractions, effectively disappearing from meaningful interaction. This teaches your teen that they're primarily noticed or valued when problems arise. They may respond by hiding challenges to not burden you or, alternatively, creating dramatic situations to elicit connection and attention. Healthy relationships thrive in consistent, everyday moments, during drives together, relaxed meals, or simple check-ins where you genuinely listen. Strive to be a steady, approachable presence, even in ordinary times, more like a comfortable gathering place that's always inviting, relaxed, and perhaps accompanied by small gestures of care like shared snacks. And for our final one, mistake number 7, even the most loving and involved parents can slip into this pattern, slowly distancing their teen. It's the fixation on maintaining control over as many aspects as possible. You attempt to direct their academic efforts, behavioral responses, choice offerings, technology usage, and even smaller habits. They perceive it as being confined for the simple act of adolescence itself. The stronger your efforts to tighten control, the more they may resist through avoidance, defiance, or elaborate efforts to bypass rules. The deeper psychological reality is that you cannot force a teenager in towel-adjusted adulthood through control alone. True growth and resilience come through meaningful connection and guided support. When interactions frequently become power struggles over clothing choices, social media, or daily details, your role shifts from mentor to something more authoritarian and less relational. Concentrate instead on elements within your influence, establishing family values, modeling positive behavior, and creating a supportive home atmosphere. Express things such as expectations for mutual respect and approaches to handling setbacks, all while assuring them of your trust and parental guidance. Young people require opportunities to practice independence, make errors, and learn resilience from them. Your essential task isn't micromanaging their every move, but staying sufficiently close and available so they know they have a reliable safety net when life presents challenges. Give this a thumbs up if you've poured your heart into parenting, only to receive one of those epic teenage eye rolls that feels like it could shake the ground.